And primarily, yeah, there's a lot of buffs that just happen that could essentially be a little bit too much. I'm actually wondering, I don't need to have my mic super close to me. But yeah, Scare, if you can pull out that much damage, send it to me in a screenshot. That way I can use that. Well, how much are you up to right now? E6, 2150 HP. Azar, I don't really think that the E6 needs much of a rework. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, the health bonus that they gave it's quite a bit. And it's really weird to actually have the chat. I'm actually just going to extend my chat board out real fast. Hold on. I'm going to do pop-out chat and then get OBS up. Here we go. That way I can tell what I'm doing without actually... Okay, computer's acting weird. 2 seconds. There we go. So, if we take a look at the T95E6... Yeah, so the 2150 health, let's come over to Reforged. We're going to come over here. Sorry, I'm going to move my mic because I'm going to be mostly on the left side right here. Sorry if you guys can hear that. Don't forget to screenshot the match though, since it was your second game, and send it to me. Yeah, so the 2150 health buff that the E6 got makes it comparable makes it comparable to PC. So that's actually a good buff. However, the buff I don't approve of that they did was on the hatch. So let's take a look at what they did. So we have 177 to 203. I'd actually like to see this get reverted back. Everything else about the turret, though, I'm okay with. Because we can go back to the game here. I'm actually going to grab my remote. Right now, I'm actually in a party with a couple of other people, so real fast, take a look at statistics. All these statistics look pretty good. This is with a gun rammer, I believe. Yeah, so we have gun rammer, ventilation, view range. Armor-wise, though, the armor on the hatch, that's a little bit too much. Tier rates are going to suffer. Oh, dude, believe me, I know about the E4. You'll laugh at actually who I have on Discord right now and what tanks I got asked to check out. E4, I'm actually right now doing my old standings as a super tester, going over stuff that they've changed to try and help rebalance it. Same thing about the E3 right here, with the buff that they did to the E4 with the 305mm gun mantle and the 254 on the side of the turret. So turret front armor, this is actually the cheeks. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back. I'm actually going to take off 7, 8, 9. And keep in mind, dude, if you guys are complaining about these tanks, you're actually looking in the wrong category to complain about right now. E4, it's going to stand out the most, but the ones that we don't want to slip out of the way, so we got 300, we got 305, 260 on there, which hasn't changed. The hull armor is exactly the same. 254, which should be reverted back. The gun mantle, like 270, I think, on the gun mantle rather than 254. in all honesty, but even then that might be a little bit too much just because this thing's got a big gun and it's got a 17.55 second reload. The hatch at 203. They honestly probably could leave the hatch at 203 and just revert this back to 203 and then drop this down to 254 again. So the hatch buff, I'm okay with the hatch buff from 150, from 152 or 154, whatever it was beforehand. It was 152 to 203. So yeah, a tad bit too much. But these are not the tanks that we want to cover. The tanks that I'm looking at that we should be wary of at this moment. So let's actually scroll up here. I already sent in my reply about this tank, saying what I wanted to say. It's in the Russian category. As I'm looking for it, being a Muppet. Okay. 212A, here we go. So view range from 320 to 390. Along with that, the reload from 20.6 to 19.8. I'm okay with the reload. But this top speed of 45 and view range. See, I don't mind the reverse speed being 12. Because that's still not that fast. But the top speed, that's going to make a big difference. Combined with that, we're going to head back over to... Well, actually, we're on the webpage. So, T54. I have 2 of these up right now. So we're going to go back. Let's go take a look at the artillery. So we have the 212A. One of the biggest problems about the 212A with this buff that they just gave it, with the 45 top speed, it has 15.16 power to weight. This is a problem. Because with that 45 top speed, it's going to be able to reach that top speed now. So this thing's going to be able to rush to a position, lock it down, knock over trees, be extremely hard to spot. Okay, if it's behind trees and has a concealment crew. And combined with that, 17-second reload, 16-second reload, because 19.8. Yeah, 19.8. Coming back. And it's going to be able to spot for itself because it now has 390 view range. So this is a problem that it can spot for itself. So we're going to open up a new tab here. We're going to come back. Let's go America. Let's go artillery. Let's take a look at the 5355, which has a 350 view range. Let's head over to PC. Let's go tank list. Let's go America. Let's go 5355. And this one has a 300 view range. So essentially artillery on console have got better view range than every single artillery on PC. Period. And that's because of the changes that they did with the binoculars that they removed. They buffed a lot of view range. But this is a problem that if we allow the 212A to stay with the 390 that it has now, that's comparable to some tier 8 standard view range. So for instance, like T94E2 has 400. There's a couple of them. I actually don't have any tier 8s on my list down there at the bottom right. I'm not reading comments right now. They're a little bit too far to my right side. I have to turn my entire head. Give you an idea. I have to looking here. This is my main monitor, and then I have to look all the way over to see the chat board. So, taking the camera off. Alright, hold on. Roost. That being said, hold on. I need to go back through comments. Armor is quite nice, not reliable, but I guess it's some nice bounces. So, Anwar, are you talking about the E6? 7K raw, 1.2 second grenade launcher on the Vanguard. Over. Okay, yeah. And the Sinlac. Sinlac, dude, I'm happy that they removed the advanced reloader. I got that fixed. There's a lot of stuff I've gotten fixed. And this is what I'm doing right now. So I'm going over a lot of the tanks reforged because a lot of these buffs are just a little bit too much. Speaking of which, Scare, did you get that screenshot? It doesn't matter if you didn't win it. It's your second match in the tank. Okay. And it's your second match. See, that's what matters to me. Yeah, which is completely wrong. Okay, so the Object 260, the buff that was applied to this tank, see, and now that I tap buttons, I have too many tabs open, so it's going to be going 1, 2, 3, so we're going to go back to 1. But the Object 260 with the 30 to 55, the 55 is on dot, but what they did to the tank was a little bit too much with what I'm talking about. So if we take a look at the tank right now and go to armor, let's go look at the 55. All right, so there we go. There's the 55. But now if we go to tanks GG, the 55 stops right here. And then it goes back to 30. The reason is because if they overexpose the top armor, they want to be able to hit it. But our only 30 that we still have is on top of the hatch. Which by that point, you're just going to be aiming for the hatch. But this 30 millimeters of armor right here should have been left alone. A little bit lazy, in my opinion, how they edited it. And I can show you extremely lazy if I show you guys the T32 that no one has mentioned. So we're going to go back to tier 8. And this is to give you guys an idea like how far in depth I go with how they update the game. Because there's been a lot of changes. A lot of stuff got reworked. And T32, let's come over to armor. The armor on the T32, if you want to talk about a tier 8 Sill Clubber right now, let's take a look at the top armor. 76.2. 228 millimeters of penetration will not overmatch that right now. So you can essentially overextend your entire tank in reverse coming over a hill as long as your back haul is covered and auto ricochet everything that hits it and become impenetrable right now. So this is one of those tanks that I'm sending in to get reworked. I'm actually going to go grab a mouse real quick and plug it into my Xbox. So 1 second. I about unplugged my controller. Leave me alone, Scare. I'm going over the update list and taking a look at stuff, so not really. I'm sorry to being a monkey. Yeah, do I have a mouse? Is it there? There it is. Sweet. This is funky. I now have 2 mouses hooked up. So right here on this tank, the way I look at it, from this notch right here, everything behind it should be 38 millimeters thick. All along this backside should be 38. And rather than having 76 up here, it should be 45. That way it's not too overpowered, because originally we had 38 with 38 all across the top of the tank originally. And that could be overmatched by 120s and 122s. But 76, this is just too much to have on this tank. Along with the armor buff that they did, which was the 146 from 127. They also increased the hatch up in the front for the gun port from 76 to essentially doubling it right here to 146, which means that tier 7s, tier 6s are going to be struggling to kill this thing. It's not like they already didn't struggle to kill it because it already had a godlike turret, and if it's hauled down, this thing was indestructible. And to put the icing on top, this used to be 77 millimeters, and they put a 1 in front of it to give it that better armor on top. So now it's just bouncing everything, and once it maxes out its gun depression, it used to be extremely hard to take down, but now it's even harder to take down. So we head over to Tanks GG. Let's go back. Let's take a look at the T32 armor model, and we'll also compare it against a tier 10 with heat rounds to give you guys an idea how strong the T32 turret actually is. So let's do the E5, which the E5 did get a reload buff. I don't care what you guys say, that tank needed it. That one actually makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at this turret. So right here up at the top, we have 94 millimeters is what it originally was. Might be wrong. It might be at the wrong angle here. Yeah, there we go. 79, 78, 77. So yeah, this is 77. It goes down continues to go down. Original angle 1.3, so 76.2. That's what this was originally on top. Now, let's load the heat rounds. And let's max out the gun depression. This is against the tier 10, keep in mind. Even against the tier 10, this tank was extremely hard to go through. So right here, this one little weak spot at 211 is now a red mark and impinnable. The top armor, so the advantage here, let's go back to standards. We can overmatch the 38 millimeters. We can overmatch the 38 millimeters. The top armor underneath was originally 51 millimeters coming all the way around, and then you guys can see it cuts off right at the start of the turret. And then it jumps down to 38 all the way along the backside here, which can ricochet at 105. So this can auto ricochet at 105 right now with PC. And they did that on purpose. They didn't want the tank to be too powerful, and right now this is a little bit too powerful with 76 all across. So let's go versing a 105. So let's go tier 9. Let's let's go back in the tier 8. Let's do, Basante has a 120. No, the Basante has a 105. We're going to save. So now the entire back armor is auto ricochet because it's 38 millimeters. The thing is, with the armor that we have on ours, this angle here will bounce a Yaguru with the same armor effectiveness with standard rounds. And the Yaguru cannot overmatch that. Neither can a Death Star penetrate this armor. A Death Star with the 183 will just bounce off unless it's loading Hesh. And then it'll make impact, but even with the thick armor that it has, it'll be likely to not do as much damage. So that's one thing I'm worried about. Next up on this list that I actually am looking over, the T-54, the buff that they gave this tank. Going back over to Tanks Reforged. 257, honestly, I really don't care about the 257. This buff, we'll have to see how this goes. The terrain resistance buff that they gave it. Terrain resistance makes a really big difference on a tank. So they just want to be a little bit careful with what they do. Frontal turret roof armor from 20 to 45, which this is okay. And then we have turret 2 from 30 to 60, which 60 a little bit too much. 50.8 would have been a better choice rather than 60 on the dot. Because 60 on the dot, just a little bit too much. Now, coming up to the ISM, IS-7. Our IS-7 is essentially better than the IS-7 on PC right now, with all these statistics. As base. Been rolling heavy for 440 guns quite a few times. That's nice. Roost K, they've been saying, I love the new armor changes, bounces. 6200 in my Scourge, in a tier 10 match, made a Conqueror look foolish because he kept trying to pin my turret. Yeah, no, dude, it's nice with everything that they've done with this update, to be honest. Equipment removed, so I use the HE grenades. Okay, arty buff. Yeah, Michael, not worried about the arty buff. The IS-7 buff, I was actually going to talk about the IS-7. What I'm going to do is we're going to head back. Hold on, how many tanks do I have in the list? Okay, just tier 8. We have Russian and American selected right now. So the IS-7, I have 3 marked it. And I can tell you now, the buff that they gave the IS-7 might be, like, the dispersion value might be too much. The aim time, I appreciate it. The reload, a little bit too much. Because if you look at my build right now, I don't use a gun rammer. And that's because this tank already had a really good reload to begin with. It didn't need a gun rammer, but now it's almost like I have a gun rammer, even though I've never used a gun rammer on my tank. So, yeah, they're doing a couple of things I'm not going to complain about. The horsepower that they gave this tank actually matches what they did to PC, so I do approve of that. But with the dispersion values and everything else that they gave the tank, might be a little bit too much. Okay, now for the tanks you guys probably haven't noticed yet. 268 version 5, I was actually asked to check this one out, so I'm playing some matches in this. Honestly, I can already tell you now, the jump from the hull armor from 120 to 140 was a little bit too much. So 277, I actually appreciate what they did with the hull armor here. This is something that I'm not going to complain about or even mention. The reload time from 12.5 to 12 is also a big jump. This might be a little bit too much, but accuracy during turret rotation, movement rotation, they decreased it. This might be a little bit too much as well. The Arctic Hiss or the Armadillo. I don't play Cold War, but I hear a lot of people complaining about the Armadillos. Wait, did I just pass it? Oh, it's 705. Not worried about the 705. Honestly, all the buffs on these back-mounted turrets, I approve of. But I'll go over these later. Honestly, they're not much of massive increases. They're not huge. So they left the terrain resistance for the soft terrain. Well, the hard terrain alone, but the medium terrain and the soft terrain they readjusted, which is nice to see on the 705. But that's chassis 1. Okay, so what I'm looking for is the T54. Here we go. So right now, the new standard shell travels at 1,535 meters a second and went from 219 to 264. So that's why this is actually right here on this list right now, T54, because I'm looking at this. So we have 264. We're actually going to come here. We're going to go back. We're going to select medium tanks. We're going to select, let's say, for instance, the T22 medium, which is a pref, well, a premium tank at tier 10. But it's a good comparison. And the reason why is because take a look at the reload at 7.6. Okay, so 7.6, we're going to come back to the T54. 8.2. Okay, aim time, 2 seconds. Let's go back to T22 medium. 2.2. Okay, so the T54 has better aim time. Dispersion values, let's take a look at 0.36, 0.33. Okay, so this has got better accuracy. Come back, we have gun depression 5 degrees, gun depression 5 degrees, gun elevation 16, gun elevation 20, power to weight 19.87, 56 top speed. Let's come back, 18.6, 55, 20. Go back, we have 20. Okay, so the new penetration this thing had from 219 to 264 in the standard gel swap, this is too much. And the reason why I say that is because the heat round is exactly the same. The heat round is what made the T54 so powerful. But if you give this thing a 264 base penetration gun, heading back over the tank's GG, let's actually take the original T32 here. Actually, well, let's go back. Let's select a tier 7. We're going to select a random tier 7. Okay, so let's say, for instance, Black Prince. Yeah, let's do the Black Prince. Let's go 3D model live, so it can't pin itself. Now let's compare to a tier 9 Russian medium. Right here, regular T54. All right, we got some green. A little bit of green on the turret here. Nothing too much. Some green up top. We can go through the hull without much of a problem. Now let's load the 330 heat pin. Oh wow, look at that. That all went green. Okay, so we went from 201, and even with the 219 that we had originally, another comparison we can do is loading the M46 Patton, which is another tank that got a buff here on console, to check and see what the statistics are against the Black Prince. But this is just a turret of the Black Prince right now. So we load the heat rounds. Boom. Absolutely shredded. Alright, now let's go tier 10 mediums, Russia. Let's select the T22 medium with the 264 standard pin. Look at how much better that penetration is across the board. And that is now its new stock pin. Not stock, but fully upgraded pin. Which means tier 7s, this is a heavy tank. This isn't a medium. This isn't a tank destroyer. This is a heavy tier 7. Look at how much of a chance it has to go through now. 68.7. So this is a tad bit too much of a buff on that tank. And then, you know, you load the heat, and it's gone. This was the advantage of the T54 to begin with the 330 heat. but now that it has a new 264 standard pin, 1535 velocity, which this is literally the gun they gave it, the D54 TS. So if you look, D54 OBR. So yeah, it's still a D54. Okay, and OBR just means it's got a slower reload. But problem is that it's now going to be absolutely shredding tier 7. And it's going to be way too strong. Well, the trade-off was it used to have a heat round that everyone loved to use that would go through everything. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back. Come back with full tank list. We're going to go Russia again. Back to the T54. It's heat round traveled. It's standard round 895. And the premium had 895 as well with 330 heat pin. So this was a little bit too much of a buff, in my opinion, from 219 to 264. This was a massive buff. It honestly makes it to where why would you go up in tier? Because if we take a look at the reload between the T54 at 8.2, take a look at the reload here at 7.6, there's almost no advantage to jumping up a tier except for like half a second reload to an entire second worth of reload. But the thing is that T54 is going to be seeing tier 7. So a little bit worrying there. Yeah, season pass is good. T95A coming out. Koza, the 268 version 4 with that 300mm lower plate, even at 260, it would bounce all the time. So just because they jumped it at the 300 and reverted the RNG changes, that lower plate is still God. Like you're not, even with the RNG being reverted now, you're not going to pin it. Even if it was still at 260, so there's really no point to look at that. They can make it 500 for all I care, because there was almost, you had no chance of pinning it to begin with. Even with premium rounds, I think you had like a 20% chance, and you're just better off aiming for the hatch or shooting the gun port with a premium round, or shooting the extreme lower plate that's 120. Okay, premium tanks. Oh, yeah, I haven't actually looked at the season pass. I'm probably not even going to buy it. I'm a little broke. Okay, Koza, unless you're... Okay, there we go. A lot of these updates, guys, however, are actually from the results from 6.0. So that's why you're seeing all these massive armor buffs and then reverting the RNG change. And now that they reverted the RNG change, their survival rate has gone through the roof. So I think what we can do actually is, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. What stars? Player statistics. Let's come down to me real fast. Honestly, I haven't been playing too good. I've been playing pretty bad as of recent. But we got the Captured King Tiger, dude. If you guys have not played that tank yet, pull it out. Give it some fun. Last 30 days. I haven't played anything today. But last 30 days, Captured King Tiger, 71.43%. But as you see, my WN8's not that high. Really, I've been getting carried in the 7 matches I played. But bounce rate, pins. Okay, so let's go bounce at 34. Keep in mind, this is with the armor buff. I'm only bouncing 34%. So it's not like I'm bouncing a crap ton, but it feels nice to get that 245 armor now on that turret and the 160 top plate rather than the 150. All right, version 4, let's come down to the last 90 days. Okay, so we have win rate at 80%. Let's actually select Emmett's DG Dark. Congratulations on your statistics here. Let's go over to the latest. IS-7 being played, T95E6. Let's come over E4. Last match played was on the 25th, so that was today. 25th. So all I want to do is take a look at his last 30-day statistics. Let's come over here. Let's take a look at the dates. So let's go battles, WN8, kill death. Can your message move, please? Scare. No, thank you. Bounces. Let's take a look at the bounce rate here. compared to battles. So we have bounce rate. Let's go back. So he has a pretty consistent bounce rate all the way back to June 5th. And today, let's take a look here. That's actually a really big jump. 41.61 to 41.72. That's a big jump. That is a massive jump right there. Gonna continue to go back. Because as we can see, he has a pretty consistent average here. And then from 0.61 to 0.72, that's actually a massive jump. That is a 0.11 jump. That's a... Because you gotta remember, this estimates, like, overall. So, that's quite the amount of jump there. So the armor on that, a little bit insane. Okay, up next on this list, let's go ahead and take a look at the M46 Patton, which I actually just got a screenshot from Scare, which was his second match inside the tank since the buff. M103, T28, T28 Proto, T30. T30, they buffed the 105, which they redid a lot of tanks. Honestly, give that 105 a try. 8.2 to 7.6. Yeah. I might be loading that up in the T95, knowing that it's a lot more viable now. But the thing is, they made that 105 comparable to the 46 Patton before they buffed it. Alright, so here we go. Let's keep going. I passed it. Scare my Muppet. Okay, M46 Patton. All of these statistics right here don't mean anything to me. All of these don't. None of these mean anything to me right now. These were all needed. Okay? But as we get down to the 105, replace standard shell, replaced premium. Originally 218 AP, now readjusted to 268 APCR. From 945 travel speed to 1478 velocity, which is a massive jump. Not just that, but they essentially changed the entire gun. So from 265 APCR pin from 1181 to a heat round now has 330 heat pin. That's 1173. So what I'm going to do now is let's head back over to the game. Let's come over to Scare's messages. I'm afraid to actually see his messages, to be honest. King is back! Oh. Yeah, I got Space Bandit subscribed to me and I was all like, that's amazing. Oh, King's Canyon for Apex. That's what that was. Okay, so this is Scare's second match inside of his M46 Patton. And he was top tier. To give you guys an idea on what this buff did. His second match inside this tank. So yeah, there we go. Nice good amount of time looking at that. But yeah, that's the buff they essentially gave the M46 Patton. And it's, in my opinion, a little bit too much. And I would include Scare's audio, but he's a colorful character, if you know what I mean. Yep. Second match inside that tank and he pulls that out. So I can definitely say that the Patton, that buffs a little bit too much. And Scare, would you like to put like 5 more games in that tank and see what you can do? I think he disappeared. I think, yeah. Take another screenshot. Yeah, each time you get above 5k damage, send me a screenshot. That way I can show the consistency from a super uni. Yes, ma'am. To give you guys an idea on who's helping me with this right now, this is Scare statistics to give you an idea on how he plays. So, yeah, right now I have a really good helper with judging statistics. But yeah, the T54 and the M46 Patton, their buff essentially is making it to where when they're top tier, they are undeniable. And yet you see everyone talking about the E4 because the E4 had a drastic change, but you know, everyone else can look at the E4 and talk about it, but I'm not going to look at the E4 or the 268 version 5. I'm going to be double checking everything below that tank that got buffs, along with the 430 version 2, so the tier 9. They buffed the penetration of that tank from 246 to 276 or 264, whatever it was. I would like to see them revert that back because that penetration is a little bit too much as a tier 9. M60, there's some people complaining about this, saying that it didn't really need a buff. Honestly, the concealment, I would say revert the concealment, leave the reload alone, because the M48 Patton has a 8.3 second base reload, so really between these two tanks, there's not that much of a difference. Except for concealment now. The Patton, I believe, has a better concealment than the M60 now. And then the M103, I'm not even going to judge these buffs. I'm just going to leave these alone, just because pretty sure everyone here in the chat can agree this tank needed a buff. But armor, roof, both turrets from 38 to 50.8. I guess that's one thing I could check out real fast, because I don't own the tank anymore. I sold that a long time ago, but seeing what they did, I might buy it back. So, America, let's come up to it. I have Yuki sending me an invite. I'm not going to be playing right now. I'm just checking out stuff. Let's take a look if it's the entire turret or a portion, because they said both turrets were increased. Alright, so we got 50 millimeters. Alright, what's behind that? 47? There we go. That's a good readjustment right there. I would agree with that. That's actually not too bad, but I had to buy back the tank to get an idea on the fully upgraded turret. So I'll probably use someone else's account to check that out. And then the T30 got a buff. The hatch on this got boosted from, I think it was 101 to 1... No, it was like 78 or something. They did something to the hatches on a lot of tanks. For the T34 and everything else. Yeah, 127. What do we got? Wow, okay, we didn't find it. 178. Alright, that might be a little bit too much. Because it's got that angle behind it. That might be auto-ricocheting everything now. Heat rounds might even bounce off that at that angle. And once it maxes out its gun depression and barely pokes over, which really got the hump on top. So let's take a look at the top armor. 51, 38. 38. See, and right there. And then think about the T32 hull armor. And look at this hull armor. So there you go. That's the difference there. Tier 8 with better hull armor. Okay. 53, 55. Not worried about that. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. See what I mean? I'm being a Muppet. Okay, what I was talking about was T30. They readjusted the hatch to 177, 178. And then the hull armor, they dropped, it's at 38. And if you look at the hull armor, this is extremely identical. So 102. This is an identical hull to what we see on the T32. And this one still has 38 millimeters. So that gives you an idea on that jump that the T32 just had. Because these two hull armors are, they're kind of like a little reversed, but nothing too different. But this allows 120s and 122s to overmatch the top armor. So, what else on this list can we look at? Stop it. Go here. It's a friend invite. Take it. What, did you remove me? Okay, so M103, yeah, not too worried about that buff. The reload time is going to be appreciated. The aim time, reload, there we go. T9518 now has the same buff that the, it basically just has the gun from the M46 Patton now. Because that's what they did, but I don't see why they would have done that. I would have let the standard runs at 198, and, you know, I would have buffed the premium to like 255 or 265 and left it alone. Yeah, same thing here. Just a lot of the same gun. That's why we see these tanks popping up. T32, a lot of these were too much. T34 heavy. I'm actually going to want to take a look at the T34. And I know this is going slow, you guys, but this is what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I don't even run a gun rammer on my T34. So that reload buff is going to be tremendous. So yeah, we got 38 all across the back. There we go. Not too much in the buff. 76 side armor, 101 in the hatch. See, I approve of this. This is nice. Where did that 150,000 silver come from? I'm really lost. I don't even think you can buy 150,000 silver. So yeah, a lot of the buffs in this tank look really good. Alright, who sent me a season pass? It's the last thing I wanted to get. Oh, Yuki, did you make an Xbox account? You did make an Xbox account, you son of a gun. Alright, fine, I'll look at the season. Okay. Ooh, look at that. That's a freaking Minnie Mouse at 22. Don't have too much fun at that. Okay, did I miss anything? Is there another tank? Because honestly, a lot of the stuff that they're giving out, I wasn't really worried about. Oh, that's not even free. Okay. Okay, that one's free. Another Minnie Mouse. Dude, they're giving away all the super buffed up little tier 3s. Tier 4s. Those things are going to be fun. Not going to lie. If you want to make some really good silver, those are it. Alright, the Bolo tank. Confidential key card. Oh, wow. That's free. That's tier 5. Yeah, that's actually a really good giveaway. Classified. Okay. General T27. Watch out for the ammo rack in this thing. The entire side is ammo rack, so RB auto lock will probably pop your top. So safe stowage on that tank. Will be your best friend. And then look, T95A, which is free, which is kind of the whole reason why I didn't buy the season pass, because the Object 934 is a Cold War tank that I will probably never use. It's also a light tank. Okay, there's that. Never had me on Xbox. Okay. I actually don't even know who's all here. Alright, so we got 11 consistent. And I'm not even moving the main screen. I'm sitting here all like, hey, I should shuffle back and forth, but I'm not. Okay, T49 chassis change. The 90mm gun got to rework a little bit. Nothing too crazy. T54E1. Burn health, not too bad. Reload time, aim. Standard shell pen. I approve of that. That's okay. Reload time from 36 to 33. Accuracy during turret rotation. A 0.01 increase. Each time you buff the accuracy of turret rotation, it removes the reason they have stabilizers on it. T95E6. This is a tank I already talked about. The 177 to 203 should be reverted. This should be changed back. However, everything else in the turret is completely okay. Because they also buffed the aim time and the accuracy during turret rotation. Look at that accuracy during turret rotation. This is the second buff they've done, the aim time and accuracy and turret rotation. Because they did one of these about 3 months ago as well. So this thing has got a super snappy turret. The E3 compared to the E4. the E4 is making the E3 look inadequate now. So I replied saying that we should lower the reload of the E3 to 17.9, which the E4 has a 17.55 base reload, and that would bring the E3 back in the meta and make it look more appealing to newer players. While the E4 should be reverted, we can leave the hatch the way it is at 203, but revert the gun mantle and revert the turret armor on the cheeks. If you do that, that will bring it back to the way it was with a better hatch. But even then, with the RNG changes being reverted, might want to go back to the 152 for a while and just see how the tank acts over the next couple of months. But with this new change that they did, the E3 is now obsolete because the E4 has a better reload. E5, everything about this I approve of. The accuracy buff, a little bit too much. They could have left it at 0.35. The accuracy during turret rotation from 0.8 to 0.18 to 0.12. They should have left it at 0.18 and just did the reload. Honestly, if they just did the reload by itself, that would have been the only thing they needed to change. By the way, I have music playing in the background. I'll let you guys hear it for a split second. Some sexy sax. But, yeah. The equalizer, the barrage gun, 0.85 to 0.77 with the accuracy. It's a barrage gun. It's not like it's going to be pinning you every single shot, so I'm okay with that. And also, I do have a question for chat. Have you guys noticed a decrease in damage from artillery since the update? Because I'll tell you now, they're not high rolling with their penetration anymore. Okay, so we got 2 more screenshots from Scare. So this is another match with the 5400 damage. What match was this? Was this number 3, number 4, number 5? They're all back to back, so this is number 3. Okay, so this was against tier 10s. So 5,400 in the 46 Patton against tier 10s. Okay. I hate how it backs me out of the messages whenever I look at it. And then we're going to come up to attachment number 2. This is match number 4. Okay, so this is match number 4. This is the consistency from a super uni on crack, because Scare is an absolute monster. And look at his averages he's having with a tier 9 in tier 10 games. These last 2 were tier 10. And your 8,000 that you did, that was top tier, right? Okay, so this 8,000 was a top tier game. So yeah, I think that the buff on the 48 Patton and the T54 is just a little bit too much. But I'm not a developer, I'm just a tester. Well, hopefully soon to be a tester. Fingers crossed. Arguably more important. Thank you, Scare. That's appreciated. Yeah. Sheridan, so we see accuracy movement during turret rotation from the 0.12 to the 0.1. The dispersion values were increased. Honestly, I don't think the Sheridan needed turret rotation buff for accuracy. The dip cannon, maybe. Same thing about the Tortoise. The Tortoise armor buff, this is something no one's mentioning. With all these buffs that it got, and RNG just got reverted, this is a little scary. Along with its standard penetration being changed. And premium shell from 246 to 252. That's a 32-pounder gun. That's not even its 120. So, from 330 to 370, okay. Sweden, it was, what, the Strav K, I think was the only one. Oh yeah, Strav 103B. Reload time, okay, so Strav 103, they should have not done anything to this tank. Just because it already has insane concealment, and increasing the reload is going to make it scary. And why would you increase to non-siege mode accuracy? Are you trying to fire this gun not in siege mode? Yeah, that's the most useless buff I've ever seen in my life. I'm so sorry. And the German... Wait, did it do that? Go up. It's just one tank. I'm okay with this. I'm not really worried about that. But the Americans and the Russians Some massive difference there. 4005, they replaced the engine. I do believe PC has the 950. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come over stage 2. Oh, they lowered it to 850 to give it to 16.6. Okay. So we have a better version of this tank, other than the fact that we don't have the same Hesh rounds. Sad face. Okay. So 53, 55, we have a couple of these up still, taking a look. But yeah, there's a couple of these that I'm going to be going over. Wait, the FV 217 from 120 to 154. FV 217. Isn't that an artillery? It's a British arty. Okay, go away, Shadow Legends. Whatever you are, go. Yeah! Yeah! Oh. Sad face. Okay, so back, FV 217. I really do want to say that's an artillery. No, FV 217. It's the Badger. So they buffed the side armor. That's what it was. Because originally we had it 120. Yeah, upper side armor from 120 to 154. Yeah, that's what that was. And then terrain resistance increase. This is a drastic difference on this tank. From 3 to 2.6, from 2 to 1.5, from 1.8 to 1.4. Yeah, that's a drastic increase. This thing is going to be spinning circles now. Accuracy during movement, rotation, 2.4 to 2.2. See, this is a balanced buff right here. This is not like a drastic change. It's 0.02. That's actually what we want to see. Yeah, like jazz. Big Dog Daddy, I'm sorry, I don't know how long ago you posted that comment, but hello and welcome. I'm not really looking at comments too much. I'm looking at the left side, and to give you an idea, over my right side, I have this popped up. So I'm a little bit more busy looking at left. But yeah, a lot of these, you know, I approve of. T95E6, the hatch. T95, not going to complain. I'm probably actually going to use the 105 on this now, because that's going to be a blast. Okay, so T49, the 90mm got a reload buff. It's not too insane. It's only 0.3 of a second. T34 from 102 to 127 for the hull armor. That's okay. T32 though, that's one of the tanks that got readjusted a tad bit too much. I'm saying a lot of the same things now. T96E5 Patriot. This is actually one that I need to double check just in case. Okay, so we got a 22 on the back. There we go. Scare, what? No, what high caliber guns do you have by chance, if any? Above 140. Do you have anything above 140? Yeah, millimeter wise. What is it? The E4? Okay, so I'm gonna want you to probably pull out your E4 against my T32 that for some reason I cannot find. Yeah, we're gonna go to a custom game. Am I blind? There's no way. Oh my god, I'm blind. It's right there. Okay, so what we're gonna do is anyone that's in chat, dude, if you guys want to jump into this custom game real fast and help me test out some armor, be my guest. Just go to the custom queue and select mine, join in. I'm gonna take a quick step out, so you guys, if you want to stack up in there, all on the enemy team, we're gonna be doing World War II. And along with that, it's going to be on, let's say, not Mountain Pass, not Port, not Prokhorovka. We're going to go after Himmelsdorf. Himmelsdorf's going to be the one that we're going to want to touch right here. Alright, so anyone who wants to jump in to help me test this, just swap over to the enemy team once you join in. You can use premium rounds, you can use standard shells, you can even bring out tier 10s. Primarily, we're all just going to meet around Banana Road, and we're going to have people essentially fire the crap out of me. And if you do jump in, make sure that you're all on team 2 as well. I'll be swapping everyone over to team 2, and we'll be changing the timer from 5 minutes to 15. Yeah, well, actually, we'll do 10 because it's Himmelsdorf. Okay, and this was match number 5 or number 6? Number 4. 4 in a row. Okay, so this is 4 in a row. Okay. And this is top tier? Okay. So yeah, dude, Patton's averaging too much. That is insane. Are you firing premium rounds at all or no? Not at all? You're just firing off standards? See, then that's too much. Yeah, and it used to be 265 as the premium pin, so why would you load? Because artillery AP would actually go through the armor. It's going to be on the NA server. So at the bottom right of the screen, if you're able to see that, it's on NA. I'm going to take a quick step out, so if you guys want to stack up in, just a couple of you, I don't need like an entire lobby full. Just anyone who wants to participate in helping me test the armor. And the hull armor at all. Alright, so we have Hetcher, we have artillery, no artillery. So Wolf, if you're here and you're in chat, please select a higher tier. And then Rogue, if you're in chat, select something that's not an arty. You're going to want to quit out the game, so go to your settings, you're going to want to click Start, go to Settings, and I believe from here you can select your default server and Options. Yeah, so default server off to the left right here in Options. Swap it over to NA and restart your game, so quit all the way out and then load it back up. I'll wait a second for you. Well, Hernandez did. If you're able to jump in, jump in. Okay, so we have an E100, swap team, Death Star. All right, so with the Death Star, if you're in chat, please post. No high explosives. This is going to be AP, APCR, and heat. because high explosive, those are bound to damage me no matter what. So we're going to avoid HE for a minute, and then we're going to jump. We'll move the HE after, but this is really just to test the top armor of the T32. I'm also going to record once I start this as well. That way I have some stuff to go over with Minto, because I'm actually doing this because of a list that Minto sent me to test out. So this is not like I'm just randomly doing stuff because I can. This is I'm doing stuff because I was asked to, or I volunteered to. Turning on my AC, sorry if you guys can hear that. Usually it's going to be only whenever I talk, but... I need to clean my desk. I gotta take all my equipment off it and wipe it down. Yeah, what's up, Scare? $9,300 WN8. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and... You have a 10,000 overall, but I'm going to go last 30 days, so here we go. Yeah, out of the 9 matches you played, you have a 9,000 WN8. So I'm actually going to screenshot this real fast. We're doing Himmelsdorf, starting off to be able to jump in and check and see what's going on. So Rogue, if Rogue is not in the chat and he does not put a message in chat, I will be kicking Rogue since he's in an artillery. And Anwar, are you in here right now, or are we still waiting for you to join? Okay. So you're Big Dog? Naya 7? Alright, so I don't want to sit around for too long, so let's go ahead and we're going to start this up. We're going to meet at Banana Road. Okay, oh, you're in the Death Star, okay. Nice. Okay, so you guys are going to be sitting at the very end. I'm going to get posted up on the very edge. Starting off, we're going to want to shoot the hull armor. I'm going to do a reverse side scrape. Just something nice and simple. Nothing too crazy, just regular reverse side scraping. And I'm probably going to put a timestamp down in the stream for Minto to be able to jump in and check this out. Because depending on if the armor is on dot with what they readjusted, the way that armor is, honestly, the Death Star might ricochet off of the rear head-on. So we're aiming for the top armor, we're not aiming anywhere else. So if you guys can see my rear, don't aim for the rear, aim for the top armor. Top and, well, not the side, but we're going for top armor. Yeah, the upper plate on the rear deck is what we're aiming at. Okay, so I'm going to line up right here. And all I'm going to do is come out. So keep in mind there is a notch on the rear side armor that you are able to hit, but try and avoid hitting that notch. And the, so another thing that I'm having issues is, take a look at the stream. This is now auto-locking where you are. They need to fix that as well. So we're going to zoom in. We're going to auto-lock right here. So the gun should be covering the hatch just a tad bit. But your goal is to try and hit the top armor of the deck. So I'll pull out a little bit and you can aim for the deck. Now, okay, so hold on. There we go. Someone hit the actual rear armor. We're trying to avoid the rear armor. We're aiming for the top armor.
We extinguish the fire. Engine's fixed, but take it easy on her.
I know that's very hard to do. So here, I'll go ahead and readjust. So hold on. Hold on, let me just get up closer.
They spotted us.
So I guess the best thing is I'm gonna get sideways. I want you guys to aim for the top armor directly. So what I mean by the top armor is where the vents are, along there. Yeah, the engine deck is where you're aiming. So let's see if we can get rounds to go through that top part of the engine deck on the rear. Okay, now to give you guys an idea, look back at the stream. Let's come over and, okay. No, that hit the side. Okay, so we're gonna come back. Let's go back, tanks GG, full tank list. We're gonna go USA. We're gonna take a look at the T32. Look at the module armor viewer. So right here, this is auto ricochet against the 105. But now if we compare, we head over to, let's say, the Death Star. That should be an overmatch no matter what, period. And the Death Star right now, if Death Star is loaded, please take a shot. Nice. IS-7, you got a 130, fire away. Koza, E4, fire away. I mean, don't get me wrong, like right there, totally fine. Koza, you evil son of a gun. You got me. But the fact is, the rear armor on the T-32 that should not be able to bounce was bouncing shells. So 6,430 blocked. You know, and that's just testing out the top armor. So what I'm going to want to do is... And that's against 10s. Like, what chance do you think tier 7s or tier 6s are going to stand against the T-32? So, next up, what I want to do is, let's do... If you guys want... Yeah, I saw that goes. We can get a little bit closer and kind of do like a face hug next. And see if you can shoot down and overmatch. So right now, I'm actually going to want to go back. Hello, phase. You can swap team. There we go. But I'm going to go back to select tank. And I want to take a look at the top armor of the T-32 now. So armor viewer, let's take a look at the top. So right here, we have 25 millimeters on that top. So you can overmatch that. That's an overmatch. Okay, let's keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, 101 on top of the hatch. 152 on the side. There we go, 177 on the top. Okay, what's behind that 177? Is that the 20? Okay, so it goes immediate 25. Okay, so what we're going to do is... I'm going to get haul down up next, and I want you guys to fire away. Just go nuts. I'm going to try and position my tank to block as many shells as I can. So you keep in mind, no Hesh, no HE. You can readjust however you feel Banana Road. You should be playing Banana Road. Play Banana Road like you would normally play Banana Road. But the goal is to try and take me down. So aim for the hatch. Aim for the... Actually, I want to try a head-to-head first against the E5. and see if you can go through that 177 that's on top with standard. Yeah, dude. And more, if you want to use the E5 next, be my guest. Be my guest and use that E5. Well, not E5, but V5. You can use that V5. Yeah, the roof buff section that they buffed, like right below the commander's hatch. Yeah, that's where you'll be aiming for a second. So we're going to see... Yeah, we already know that the hatch is weak, but I want to see how that angle on top there that they buffed to 177 is going to bounce. Because that's got a really good angle to it. It's got a really healthy angle to it. Well, not really a face hug, but kind of like I'm going to get in a haul down spot, and we'll see if you can bounce off it. Because if you're face hugging the T-32, you're going to want to aim for the back of the turret with the 25 millimeters. You know. But that's only if you're high enough. And I don't think the E5 is high enough now that I think about it. And that reload buff that they did, I'm actually wondering what I'm going to be looking at for a reload. 7 seconds on the dot. So from 7.3 to 7 seconds. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to be taking the front-facing position, which is right here, right where Big Dog is. So, Big Dog, if you don't mind backing off a little bit and allowing scare right there from where you are, you're going to want to try and hit that 177. I'm just going to aim directly at you. You know which part I'm talking about. Let's take a look, see if you can go through. Originally, this was a weak spot on this tank, so that's what I'm actually getting ready to check. Alright, so that's actually on the, Okay, I actually don't know where the Death Star pin. I don't see a mark. Okay, that's bouncing. That's a miss. Okay. Yeah, that's directly on it. Okay, now what I want to do is, let's get my gun depression maxed out. And let's see... Avoid the hatch as much as you can since the Death Star did a pin. And let's see how long I can last with maxed out gun depression. Keep in mind the gun port I do believe is poking out. Other than that, go nuts.
Main gun is fouled up. We can't fire accurately.
Test the armor, load heat rounds if you got heat rounds. APCR premium if you got APCR premium. Okay, and then Death Star, if you don't mind posting in the chat where you aimed, that would be helpful. Oh, Commander's Hatch. Commander's Hatch was the one that we were avoiding a little bit, but really it's just testing all the areas that they buffed. Because Commander's Hatch, yeah, that's a weak spot. That's definitely a weak spot. So yeah, up next, pull up the 268 version 5. And load heat rounds, and let's see how the heat fares against the haul down armor. Other than that, dude, I can definitely say that this tank is absolutely insane whenever it comes down to armor right now. So, we're gonna be having Anwar pull out the version 5. So he was originally in the Death Star. No problem. No problem. Honestly, looking around the way that it bounced, I would say that the T-32 right now, that the armor buffs that they gave it a tad bit too much on that top armor all along the hull. The 177 that they jumped the bar to, I'd rather see them jump that down to 100 or even revert it back to the old armor model that it had. No. Koza can stay in the Death Star. I'm okay with that. Yeah, so we have Soggy inside the 268 version 5. Okay, let's go ahead and go again. And everyone that's participating, seriously, you have no idea how much this means. Thank you. Because I was going to be testing this in public queues, but doing it inside private matches is 1,000 times faster. So I can say that taking you guys in here was nice. Okay, so back to Banana Road. Or what we can do, rather than going Banana Road, drive straight down the 5-6 line in the open. I'm going to pull up to one of my main positions I like to go to on this map, and we're going to see how it holds up in my main position I go to. So 268 version 5, you can load the heat if you want to load the heat. Avoid high explosives as much as you can. We're just going to drive down the main road, and I'm going to get into my main position. So don't drive out in the open. You can drive up on top of the ridge on the other side if you want to as well to try and get it, but essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to play like I normally play my T32, which is defending my hatch on this map right here. So my goal is to block as many shots as I can right here. And with the Death Star popping up right there, that's actually a good choice. We're going to come up. Let's take a look here. If you can see the hatch, you can shoot the hatch. Okay, so I don't know which shell pinned. Was it a heat round coming from the 268? Or is it the Death Star doing a gun mantle pin? Okay, so 268 with heat rounds. That's probably going through the gun mantle, which, yeah, you know, 295 heat. Okay, so we had both rounds come from the 268. Both heat. Okay. So, one more thing that we're going to want to try out, and then I think we can call it good on the T32, is going to be heat rounds against the rear armor. I kind of want to see if a heat round's going to bounce or if it's going to go through. Oh, dude, IS-7, I guarantee it. I have not yet played it, and I'm pretty sure that thing's absolutely insane. One more thing. Does anyone here that's inside the lobby right now have access to a 268, just a regular base version of a 268? Oh, dude, I bet the gun snaps. All the buffs they did to that thing, a little bit scary. So I want to see a 268, if we have one in chat, that is, because I don't have one myself. And I kind of want to test out a couple of things, because they readjusted the area that it's able to aim. Okay. I'll have to talk to a couple of people from the competitive community to see if we have anyone who's willing to lend their account or come inside private matches and test. Playing Torvok. Get off Torvok for a minute. Come help me fix it. It's one of the tanks that has to check out. I'm just kidding. Actually, how is Torvok? I've heard that game's actually really fun. You see, the way that I look at the M46 for what they did to the M46 Patton, because Scare here never fired a single premium in all those matches. And he was averaging above 5,000 damage per game. So what that says is that the tank is a little bit too powerful, and even if you get hauled down against that tank, all it has to do is load the heat rounds and suddenly you stand no chance. Oh yeah, 395 heat pin monster, definitely. So we're gonna come back to the middle. Oh yeah, they buffed the gun to the IS-7. They also increased the power to weight. Yeah, so we're gonna come out to the middle. right here. And right now the goal is, I'm just wondering where I can stop. I don't think the T32 is... It's not. Okay, so just be careful where you're aiming. Your goal is to try and hit the top armor again. And if you gotta get closer, actually, yeah, fire heat from that distance starting off. So we're gonna have Scareface fire heat first. Fire higher up on it, and then slowly work your way down. Heat bounced. Okay. Let's see. Alright, everyone stop shooting for a sec. Just love how I backed up. Alright, go ahead. Let's fire heat into the top deck, but for you, real fast, Shaggy, rather than being on that slight angle, you're going to want to try and get like head on. Along with where Scare is sitting and everyone else. Okay, so there's the heat pin that's higher up. Okay. Yeah, the Brit Heavy got a massive buff too. But the thing is I'm also bouncing heat rounds off that top armor. So, occasionally bouncing them. You know, like the 340, which is actually really nice to have. So we had the 340. Okay, then we had the 395. 395 is going through, it looks like consistently. But the 340 is bouncing off. And then again, how often are you going to take a tank like this and sit out in the open against 395 heat pin? So, Shaggy, if you have access to, let's say, 340 heat pin, or let's say, if anyone has... Let's pull out heavies. I want to get some heavies pulled out. And we're going to go back over to Banana Road. And keep in mind, this is normally not how this tank works. You know, normally whenever you pull out this tank, you're going there with multiple team. You're not going there against multiple tier 10s. But we're using tier 10s as an idea on how strong the armor is of the T32 right now. In QL will work perfectly fine. IS-4 just recently got buffed. That's actually... Honestly, if I saw a setup like that at Banana Road, I would just turn around and drive away. I'm being honest with you guys. If I saw those 4 tanks at Banana Road, I would just leave. Okay, and I'm thinking next match, I'm going to pull out the E4. But we're not going to go up against the Tank Destroyer because I already know that a Death Star can go through the gun mantle without a problem. I want to go against heat rounds. I want to go against standard rounds from heavy tanks, because that's normally what you're going up against inside of an E4. And then in E3, and I'm pretty sure Scare here knows the E3 weak spot on the gun mantle. Yeah, so like the gun mantle head on, you aim at the ball weld around the gun port, and you should go right through it. Yeah. But then again, that was 6.0. They would go through it consistently. I don't know how consistent they're going to go through it with the RNG being reverted. So I kind of want to find that out. Yeah, no, he's inside of a tier 3. If he comes over and starts shooting me, I'll just kill him. With who? Yeah, Banana Road. Banana Road is where we're going. So, primarily, I usually don't take the T-32 in this situation. But what we're doing is, if he fires, I'm going to kill him. So, what I'm going to try and do is, you guys, you know, get to the normal spots where you would normally sit. I know this is normally not where the T-32 would sit. It'd be more back on the corner. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go back to the corner real fast. I'm going to side scrape it. Because what they did to the T-32 is, dude, this thing basically has tier 10 armor except for side. But the fact is, it's 76 millimeters of side armor, so it's going to bounce everything that hits it. Alright, the goal is fire away.
Track is damaged.
So right now in a situation like this, you know, this tank would hold up really good. So we have heat rounds going through the gun mantle, which sounds about right. So if heat rounds are going to be going through the gun mantle still, we're going to want to angle a tad bit more.
Mobilized.
But then we're also showing the side cheek,
Drive on.
so still might be able to get pinned. By the way, the Panzer 1C flipped himself.
We fixed the track. Let's roll. Our track is busted. We can't move. Track's up. Let's go.
And another thing is, like, how much of the top armor can you guys see from your point of view? And right there we have a heat round going in Commander's hatch. You can tell by the sound of it that it's heat. Another heat round. Alright, let's stop. Yeah. Let's stop firing. We just had a standard shell hit the Commander's hatch that bounced, or was that right below it? Okay. So since we're stopping, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. You know, and this is all just scenario testing. This isn't like, oh, this tank is the win all, beat all, you know. No, this is just scenario testing. So right here, from this position, how much more gun depression do I have? Let's take a look. Let's line it up. Okay. If you can see the hatch, fire at it with standards. If you can see it. Okay, so then that... Yeah, upper hall, but the machine gun port's exposed right there, so you can probably rip right through that, in all honesty. Yeah, but from this position, the hatch is bouncing. That little guy's hilarious, dude. I'm just sitting here all like, wow. Okay. So, if you can get this haul down... Alright, can we, Okay, IS-4. Was that the gun mantle or the hatch with a heat round? Yeah, that might have been the gun mantle. Okay, and now the question that I have for you guys is, if you were in a tier 8 and you saw a T-32 or a group of 3 of them, specifically a group of 3 T-32s holding a flank, and they're top tier, how much of a chance does the enemy team have to kill those 3 T-32s? With everyone in chat, how much of a chance do you think they have to knock down those 3 T-32s? It was the gun port? Okay, so he shot the gun port. So the gun port on the hull armor? That makes sense. Now, another test that we can actually run would be, we're going to swap maps one last time. This is going to be the last time. After that, I'm going to go to the E4. Actually, rather than that, I'm just going to do this. Let's take a look at Melanovka. Melanovka would be actually a good map to compare this to, because you have that lower part down area.